Welcome back to the Gerbrick Performance Podcast, where we focus on what it takes to become the version you aspire to be. Brought to you by the Baseball Blue Book app. Are you in the book? And now, your host, Chase Gerbrick. Welcome back to the Gerbrick Performance Podcast, brought to you by the Baseball Blue Book. This is your host, Chase Gerbrick. Today, we probably have the most electric guy in the whole baseball industry joining us today, a man who needs no introduction, Jason Ferber. He's been around the game for quite some time, has coached some of the best, and has played at a very, very high level. You can go check him out at Coach Ferber on Instagram. I'm excited for this one. Coach Ferber, thanks for coming on today.
I appreciate you having me, man. I've been looking forward to this for a while, watching all your stuff on social media that you drop with the podcast. And I like the content, but I like these conversations too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time to connect and talk some shop and help other people who aspire to coach at a high level or play at a high level. And so I'm pumped for this one, and we appreciate your time as well. But before we get into all of this, I want you to just walk us through your journey of your playing career and how you ended up where you are, traveling the country and, training some of the best of the best and being around some of the best of the best.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and it was during the early 80s. A place called Coney Island. You might have been to the amusement park. It's known for the hot dog eating contest, right? Yeah. Back when I was growing up, there was no hot dog eating contest. It was known for just a bunch of drug dealers and people getting robbed. Yeah, that's what it was. But so they changed it up a little bit, and more police presence. I think when that hot dog eating contest came around, it's nice now. I like to go back there. I walk in the boardwalk. They put MCU Park where the Mets, I believe they're AA. Is it high A or AA affiliate is over there? And it's a nice place to hang now. Back then, it wasn't so nice. So when I was growing up, I was hanging out with my brother, who was 3 years older than me, and a lot of his friends. And, I didn't have much money growing up. So obviously, like most people that don't have a lot of money, you try to figure out ways to keep yourself occupied. Right. And back then it was certain groups of guys, you try to get in where you fit in, right? There were guys doing graffiti, spray painting trains. There was guys doing break dancing and battle rapping on the street. It was a cool time to grow up there. And I wasn't good at rapping. I tried it. I was pretty trash. So I knew I couldn't do. I didn't sound like Jay-Z. So I kept it moving. I tried the spray paint stuff a little bit with a couple of my friends, but I wasn't good at. I'm not an artist, So you're just trying to figure out what you do. Breakdancing, I'm all right. I could keep a beat, but I wasn't elite, But when they played stickball, and any kind of wiffle ball, stickball, or play like that, I felt like I had a knack for hitting, and it came a little bit easier for me. So when the kids in your neighborhood, those are the kids that your peers, they accept you for something that when you do something and people go, all right, you can do that, you can hang with us, and when other times people go, nah, you can't play the violin. That sounds terrible. Get that out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I found a lot of self-confidence and just a good feeling about myself being picked up on a neighborhood pickup game with guys that were a little bit older than me. It gave me a good feeling about myself when I didn't have much else to really aspire to or dream about. I loved the Yankees growing up, and I took the train with my brother from Coney Island to the Bronx to watch games, but I never really could picture myself, playing in the big leagues. That wasn't something I was just content with, because I didn't really have much. My parents were on welfare, and I didn't really have much to be happy about. So I was just content with being able to fit in somewhere with a group of guys. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Jewish. So I was already confused about who I was anyway. They called me Juan Epstein back in the day. It's like going, fast forward through, kind of being, I would say in my younger years, influenced in not so great of a direction. Getting in a lot of trouble at school, getting in fights, getting suspended, constant detention at summer school and all this stuff. I feel that and I was always made everything a joke, right? I would always make everything a joke in school. I was the guy throwing paper airplanes in the back of the class, always doing something, cracking jokes, trying to get people to laugh. And like later on, I was reading some stuff about people that try to make people laugh a lot and the jokesters. And it says they usually hide in some type of pain. You know what I mean? Something that went on in their life that caused them some type of pain. And I think that probably is kind of accurate. I like to make people laugh. And even the players that I work with now, humor is a pretty big part of what I do, just because I feel like there's so many funny things about baseball. You know what I mean? So many funny things. And even the most brutal parts of baseball, which is like a pitcher goes out and throws 8 innings, absolute immaculate, best game of his career. And the next guy, the guy that comes out of the bullpen spikes a fastball, game's over. Yeah. And it's like, you got to be the most maniacal person to create a game like that where you could have literally your best performance and still lose.
Yeah.
So it's funny. You know, I mean, a lot of the stuff is funny about it. If you don't, I mean, you could cry about it. I'd rather laugh about it. But I think a lot of the things that I try to instill in my players now, it comes from when I was growing up. So when I get a new player or I'm working with somebody new that I evaluate, I usually start working with guys about 13 when they get on the big field. Now, I've worked with 8, 9, 10-year-olds too when I was early on. But I'm not necessarily trying to produce a first rounder or trying to create a big leaguer. I think when I originally started coaching, I thought, well, that's the point, isn't it? Isn't the point of what we're doing here to try to get, if I got Chase Gerbrick as a 13-year-old, aren't I supposed to try to get him to Vanderbilt or or LSU? Isn't that the point? I don't want to get him drafted in the first round and make a bunch of money and be in the big leagues. That's the point. But you start over time, over a decade of working with guys, you see such a small fraction of people that you come across that actually get there. It would actually be, it's more sad to think about if that was your only purpose, because to be honest, you could spend the whole lifetime working with players, coaching players, sacrificing your time, your energy, your effort, learning, and all this other stuff, trying to help somebody, and never get one guy to the big leagues. Never. So I don't choose to do it that way. Now, I was blessed enough to have some guys that I've worked with consistently over years eventually make it there. But I've literally worked with hundreds of players, and only about 3 guys that I've ever worked with have made it that level. I think it seems like I'm posting people, a lot of really great players on social media about who I'm working with. Like 1% of those great players actually make it to the show. And I think that for me, instilling a feeling in somebody is more important. The same feeling that I got when I didn't have too much going on at home that I could really be proud of. Giving a kid a feeling that even if he has a learning disability, maybe his dad's an alcoholic, right? Maybe he's getting bullied at school. Maybe girls don't like him. Maybe he doesn't like himself, right? And if I could take a kid like that and give him a break when he comes to practice, give him a break of all the nonsense and stuff like that. And because everywhere you go, people are judging you. And then you go to the baseball field and your coach is judging you. Yeah. It's like, man, can I just enjoy hitting some seeds out here, enjoying the sunshine? I don't have to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Why is this guy that's trying to teach me how to hit every single time I don't get a hit? He comes up to me saying, hey man, your back elbow is up and you didn't do this and you didn't do that. It's like, bro, I'm just trying to play a game here and enjoy myself. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not about getting better, but I think there's just a way to, coach different ages of players. And I like that, adapting from each age level and seeing, that's, I think the sign of a good coach really is knowing what buttons you can push on certain players. And there's guys out there that maybe they need to be blown up because they're not giving the type of effort that you require, you expect. And then there's other kids that they don't necessarily need. They just need to be picked up and give them a hug, man. Give them a high five. Get back out there and do it. So it's kind of, I like that interaction, the relationship aspect of it.
Yeah, I love that too. And, you talk about just the enjoyment of the game, and you're going to play a lot better too when you're just enjoying your teammates, enjoying the relationships, and just enjoying the ride. Because then you're not putting that much pressure on yourself. And I think it's also important for players to find coaches like yourself who provide that spark. But for you, you mentioned growing up that you played backyard wiffle ball with kids who were older than you. Talk about the impact that had on you as a player and as a person, just the importance of challenging yourself and hanging with the big dogs.
Well, I think from a young age, I had to figure out that, today it's a lot different. Today, everything is very organized. It wasn't organized when I was growing up. So you didn't need an umpire and parents watching, basically authority figures, right? That's what umpires and parents are. They're authority figures. You didn't need so much of it around. And there, you obviously still kept score and things like that, but it wasn't this big production just to go out and play. And so, when young kids are by themselves, they act differently than when they're around authority figures. They're more free. I'm not, this isn't saying that, one's right or one's wrong. I'm just saying is that if me and you are in high school and we're sitting down eating lunch in the cafeteria, and I'm like, yo, Chase, we're going to go hit some seeds, man. There's a couple of shorties out there. We're going to go to the movies after. We're going to go hit some seeds after school. And we're just vibing, right?
Yeah.
And we're laughing and everything. And all of a sudden, the principal comes and sits down next to us. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, how you doing, sir? Food, all nice and polite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that different. So that's the same energy applies, I think, like when kids go out in the field and their dad is hawking them. Their mom is hawking them. Their grandmother flew from Tennessee to go watch the game. They got umpires back there. Then now let's add some college coaches in ninth grade when the kid's 14 years old.
Yeah.
And he's already on edge, wanting to perform well for his parents. Now I got to add, if I don't play well today, I might not play in college. And if I make an error, maybe that changes my whole career path, because kids think like that. I'm actually glad that they pushed the recruiting stuff back recently to juniors in high school, because I witnessed over the last 10 years a lot of unnecessary stress on 14, 15-year-old kids. It's not necessary. Put it this way. If me and you go take a walk back in time, and let's think about the first day baseball was invented, right?
Right.
What's the guy's name? Doubleday? Is it Doubleday? Is that who invented it or no? Listen, there's a couple of different things. One guy's name's Paul something. This guy, this British guy that came up. I think there's some people that there's a debate of who actually created the game. But I think most historians might say that Abner Doubleday over here, whoever it was, let's just say the guy it was somebody that was standing outside with a bunch of his boys. And he basically probably said, think about what the conversation was. Hey, we're going to put these bases here. We're going to throw this little like hacky sack or whatever we got. You got this broomstick or whatever it is, or we got this this piece of wood, this tree branch. Hit it as far as you can and start running. Right?
Right.
And obviously it evolved from there. We say, all right, you get 3 in the outfield if you catch this and all that. But I don't think that guy and his friends thought in 200 years from now, there's going to be 50 scouts with radar guns at this thing in the stands, right?
Right.
And all this different stuff. I don't think that they started like that. They thought about it. It was just a way to have fun and compete, right? And when you take a 14-year-old's mind and what he's supposed to be feeling at 14, and you add in all this extra stuff about what's going on in the future, how it impacts his future, who's watching him, then you add social media. Like, bro, back in the day, if everybody gets a bad read every once in a while, correct?
Correct.
You've had bad. What position you play?
Shortstop.
All right. So you made a couple of errors in your life?
Yeah, more than a couple for sure.
Yeah. So I've booted balls. I played third base. I've booted plenty of balls. One time I dove for a ball that at a JUCO. I played at a JUCO at Kenyatta College. The ball kicked back the other way when I was diving, hit me straight in my face.
Oh,
like bad hop back. Just random stuff now. But there's no video. There's no somebody clipping it down and going, oh, let's post this and see 1 million views of this guy getting a bad read.
Right.
Nobody's going viral. Just the error happened. Your friend saw it. All right, next. So I think kids, they sometimes play for highlight reels now. Yeah. A lot of times I'm playing so that I can get a highlight reel. You know, and I think that affects a little bit about how free they are playing, the purpose of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that. It was funny. My family's just really, really competitive. And over Thanksgiving, my dad's just the pool king, really, really good at pool. My brother and I, we were playing versus my dad and my uncle. And, you know, we would make a terrible shot. We just start like dying laughing. And normally it's not like, let's go. We got to make that. But it was the best pool we played. I think we went like 4-1 on the day versus like other times that we would get like all angry and mad at each other. Like just didn't go well. But too, like I want to add on that, you know, fear of failure or fear of, you know, not living up to the social media standards or standards that your peers think of you. Like, what advice would you have to the player who's scared of failing and not meeting the expectations that others are putting on them?
It's a good question. I mean, somebody you see it a lot in even how kids take BP at a showcase. You could see it really apparently when you look at the different levels and ages of guys, and like an amateur guy taking BP in front of people and a pro or a big league guy taking BP in front of people. Usually what happens with the amateur is they start thinking of external things that don't matter. A lot of times the external stuff that's going on around you, it's influencing what you're doing, but it makes no real impact rather than going internally. So, meaning if I swing and miss the first 3 pitches in my BP round at a showcase, at a perfect game showcase, I think the amateur hitter that's concerned with what other people think, they start to really, really vacillate. Their heart rate goes up.
Yeah.
Their breathing goes up. Their mind goes to other places. They're thinking about, wow, I look real bad. I wonder what I look like to these other people, right? I better not miss this next time, which is the worst thing you could say.
Right.
The best thing you could say is, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care, because guess what? There's always another baseball for me to hit. You know what I mean? It's true. I think that people never talk about the mental side of things and what the brain does, because you can't really put pictures of it, you can't put video of it. But there's obviously, every time we make a move, everything we do in the game, there's an emotion attached to it.
Yeah.
Everything. You're a shortstop. I fielded a ground ball real smooth. I threw it. I missed it arm side up, right? I missed my target. Took the first baseman off the bag. Damn. There's the emotion, right? What do? Shit, got to fix it. Next time, I got to follow my throw. I got to get my feet going towards start. I got to release the ball in front of my face. Damn, I knew I should. But there's an emotion. But the question is, how do you structure those emotions? How do you control them and channel them? And how do you have them done in sequence? Because we can think of many things, but you can only think of one thing at a time. It happens real fast, right?
Right.
So it's not like, I feel like being able to have some control over your mind and understanding how to get back to center is such an important skill that not a lot of people practice, just because I don't think that people talk about it enough. There's nobody putting out a lot of content on how to do it, because nobody really, really knows. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've been doing some research. It's interesting. I don't want to get off topic, but I think
keep going. I find
it interesting is that there's this thing called motor preferences. Okay, have you seen it?
No, I have not. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Motor preferences are things that we all do as humans without thinking about them, that are automatic, that happen to us, that are completely unique to all of us. All right? We're made up of literally hundreds of motor preferences, okay? And I'll tell you how it applies to baseball, but let me give you an example. Because I just got certified. I took a 2-day, 8-hour clinic, 8 hours each day to get certified to be able to assess my hitters and my athletes' motor preferences.
Oh, nice.
To get them in their most balanced and optimal positions for coordination and balance. So right now, do me a favor, cross your arms real quick. You went right over left?
Right over left.
Okay, cross them the other way. Feel weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, weird, right? Shouldn't be hard, but it is. Right? And
Right.
that's a preference, okay? About half of the human race does it one way, and the other half do it the other way. It's not good or bad. It's a preference, but I'm not going to sit there and train you to do it the other way because that's just how you do it, correct?
Correct.
So when you try to do it the other way, your brain is literally working harder and and it's expending more energy. Now, if you take this, we have a million preferences. When I take a shower in the morning, every day, I start usually right here on my left hand. I go up this way, and then I do the rest of my body. If I start over here, I can still do it, but it just feels weird.
Right.
And there's no point in trying to train myself to do that. Are you a right-handed?
Right-handed.
You right-handed?
Right-handed.
Good. So is there any reason why I would try to train you to left-handed?
No.
No, it's stupid, right?
Right.
Just a waste of time because no matter how much I try to train you, we could probably learn how to do it. But the time that it takes and the brain power and the effort of you doing that is going to cause you so much more frustration, and you're never going to be as good at just doing it with your right hand. So when we apply this into baseball stuff, because here's what I've done for the last 10 years, and I've always had this thought in my mind of I couldn't explain it. Try a bunch of different setups, right, with my hitters.
Right.
Hey, man, try moving your left foot and got a little bit more open. Oh, no, close it off like Altuve or Stanton. Okay, let's just go straight with it. All right, listen, let's get a little taller in your setup. No, that doesn't work. Hinge more over the plate. Yeah, let's go from there. And you're just tinkering and tinkering and tinkering and exploring first. Nothing wrong with doing that. However, to a certain degree, it is a waste of time. The reason why it's a waste of time, and then obviously after you try that, you go, oh, I had a bad game. I couldn't hit inside pitches. I kept on taking inside pitches, or I was way out in front cheating or whatever. All right, so let's work on this inside high T drill for the next 3 weeks and try that, see if that'll work. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this other drill where we keep both our heels stuck in the ground and just work on, and you're just trying it and trying it. What I mean to say is that if I can basically get the guy's motor preferences, especially just on how he stands, half the human race prefers to balance in the balls of their feet. This is what I've learned. And the other half prefers to balance in their heels. So half of us prefer to be in extension when we walk, and the other ones prefer to be in flexion or a little bit lower. Also, you'll see people that have preferences if their arms want to be away from their body or close to their body. You don't even have to do any crazy research. Just look at a group of people standing around in line at the grocery store. Some will be like this. Some will have one hand on their hip. Some will be leaning one way. Some will be in the balls of their feet. Some will be in their heels. Okay? Now, what this means is the guys that like to be in the balls of their feet, a lot of them are top-down movers. So just follow me for a second. I know this sounds crazy. Half the human race prefers to move from the top down, and the other half prefers to move from the ground up. So when it comes to swinging, the reason why there's this huge disconnect in the hitting world about guys doing different types of hitting philosophies is because half of the hitters, the humans, think about Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr. If you're a top-down mover, your swing is more shoulder dominant. Okay, these are Barry Bonds. If you're a ground-up mover, you're going to be more like a Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, guys that look like they're getting to the ground. Now, if me or you just happens to you like Barry Bonds, I like Bryce Harper, right?
Right.
That's my favorite player. That's who I want to model my swing after. If we try to duplicate or try to put a split screen of a young hitter and put that guy on there and say, do what this guy's doing. Or any foundational drill that you do with all your hitters, about 50% of them are going to have success, and about the other 50% are going to stay the same or get worse. And I started to notice this even working with my pro guys in the offseason. We would be doing the same drills, like the same progression. We would go T-work, then we would go angled front toss, then we would go no stride drills and keep both feet and just do back path, or we would do one arm, single arm drills, whatever it was. And there would be certain drills where about half the guys or a couple of guys would be like, man, that feels weird as hell. Why are you swinging and missing and fouling off front toss? You're a pro hitter. Just because I made you keep your back heel in the ground, or both your heels in the ground and not move. It's because if you prefer to be on the balls of your feet and I force you into a drill where I plant your heels back, your swing gets really long and then your brain is working harder. Exactly like we talked about before with the elbow thing, right? With crossing your arms. So when our brain is working harder, we're not smiling as much. Right?
Right.
When our brain is working easier and not as hard, right? We're smiling more.
Right.
Okay? If I try to put you in think about it. If I try to train you to right left-handed, how much would you be smiling?
Not at all. Probably get agitated.
You'd be like, God damn it, I hate this.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
But we do it to hitters. We force them into these deliberate moves that we think, and these constraints that we think are fixing a problem, where I assure you, if you take a person that has certain motor preferences, as you force them out of their natural profile, the only thing that happens, you can drill it for 10,000 reps. Doesn't matter. What they're going to do is they're going to fight. Their body's going to fight to get back to their natural preference before it goes and executes the task. And in that split second, now there's some guys that are so good, right? These guys, the guys that they say, oh, he was born to play. There are guys out there that they're so good that you can't ruin their swing. You can just waste a bunch of time and maybe confuse them a little bit in practice. And then once they get in the batter's box in the game, they're going to revert right back to what they normally do, that they know how to execute the task. And generally speaking, when they're doing well, it's when they're in their natural motor preferences. So that I was just saying, like, from an enjoying the game standpoint, think about how hard it is to hit regardless. Now, if you add in trying to force deliberate moves that your brain is working harder at and you're not able to smile, then add in that, shit, it's my second year in pro ball. I'm batting 180 and I'm probably going to get released if I don't hit. It becomes not fun anymore.
Right.
Right? So the pro guys that I've done the motor preference assessment with, my two guys, Josh Palacios and Richie Palacios, we did it last year. It's about a 4 or 5 hour assessment. How you breathe, how you see. These are preferences, dude. I thought everybody sees the same way. They don't. So half the people in the world, humans, prefer to see from the top down. And half the human race prefers to see from the ground up. Meaning, I know, does that sound weird to you?
No, I like it. It's good. It's good.
Okay, so if there's a pretty girl, are you married?
No.
You got a girlfriend?
Single,
good.
Right.
That's perfect. Perfect for this conversation. Yeah. I'm married, so I'm saying this isn't me. This is somebody else. Me and you are homeboys, right, Chase? We're walking down the street. We see a fine woman walking down the street. I might go, wow, look at those shoes. Man, then look at her. Man, she got pretty leg. Wow. Well, look at her face. And I'm looking this way. You might go, wow, she got some pretty hair. Wow, nice booty. Whoa, pretty heels. Right?
Right.
It's not right or wrong. It's just how you see it. And now when you take that information, you go to the big league level and you look at true media and you look at analytics and you go, wow, half of the big league hitters in the league, almost about half, chase the fastball up that rides at the type of strike zone. And the other half of hitters, the scouting report says, no, throw those guys changeups, low sliders down and away, right? That's their chase pitch. A lot of times, it's not that they can't hit it. They don't see it as well. And maybe against scrubine pitching, low-level amateur pitching, you can hit however you want to hit. But once it gets to a point where you're talking about 95 plus with a lot of spin and multiple pitches you can command for strikes, and you can't out-athlete, you can't be like that, oh, I'm born to play, I don't have to work, and I'm natural with it. Once you can't out-athlete anymore, understanding where you see in the strike zone better, if you see top down better or bottom down better, again, it's not about training. If you, Chase, see things better from the top of the strike zone down, and I don't say, oh, well, let's train you to see things from the ground up. That's not what we're doing here. What I would do is you will now know what to lay off and know more about yourself, right? The more knowledge you know about yourself in this game, the better. When a guy comes and gives you a crazy drill, another coach somewhere, you want to be coachable and you want to try it, but I know that's not my profile. Right. That's not the way I move. That's not my preference. I can at least say to the guy, like my big league guys can go and say to their coach, that drill's not for me. I did a 6-hour motor preference assessment, and I know that right there is going to make me slower.
That's awesome. I think that's just so great too. Just players learning to play to their strengths based on how they're wired, and also from the coaching perspective, like player X and player Y aren't the same. So how can you maximize player Y's performance based on how he moves, how he's wired, player X's performance based on how he moves and how he's wired. But Coach Ferber, this has been an absolute pleasure here. And as time winds down, I really want to give you the floor here. Anybody looking to play at the next level, whether it's college or professional, any words of wisdom or pieces of advice you have for those guys to close this thing out?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I know it sounds cliche, but, anybody telling you that you can't do it is just probably thinking about themselves. And they're saying that I can't do it. They don't actually mean that. So don't listen to them. You know what I mean? There's so many different paths to get to the end result of what you want to do. And the more you stay connected and thinking about what you want, I think the more it's going to come to you. If there's certain, goals and wishes are two different things. And it's great to have wishes and it's great to dream big. And I recommend keeping your imagination intact is really important. Dream big. But if me and you both want a Lamborghini and you say, yeah, I'm trying to get this Lamborghini, and you're looking it through social media and just looking at it, and I get up every morning on wherever I'm on the way to school and I pass by the Lamborghini dealership and I go look around at the tires and I go look at it and like get really into it. What color do I like? What combination? You know what I mean? What series? Who do you think's going to get it first?
Guy who's checking it out.
Yeah, the guy that's already there. He's actively going out and making, even if it's just the thought of I'm getting up and I'm taking my body to this place. So that's also when it comes to practice, work ethic and things, I find that the kids that I coach that go the furthest, they don't lie to themselves about how hard they work. Because when we lie to ourselves, if I say I'm going to hit legs real hard today, I'm doing squats and deadlifts and I'm going to really crank it out, I might even throw up. I don't know. If I say that, but then 10 minutes before, girl calls up and says, hey, you want to go to the movies? And I go, oh, okay. I'm lying to myself. I just lied to myself.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's fire and brimstone, but just realize that when we lie to ourselves, that's how we chip away at our confidence. Because now I know I did cheat a little bit when that next game comes. And when I make those little small goals every day, and I said, you know what, I don't have that much time, but I'm still going to get to the gym. I'm going to make it happen somehow. Even if I go in there and just walk on a treadmill, I'm just going to stretch a little bit. There was this thing I was watching. Real quick, I'll end with this. There was this thing I was watching. It was interesting about workout routines, and it was basically saying that for some reason, something in our brain, if you skip one day at the gym, if you have a routine and you skip one day, you're usually good. 2 days, it's kind of tough to get back. There's a 3-day rule that if you don't go to the gym out of your normal routine for 3 days, if you looked on a pie chart, the people that get right back in on the 4th day, it's like skyrocket that people don't go.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know what it is on a 3-day thing, but if you get to 2 days without getting out of your normal routine, you're starting another routine. So just keep it in mind. It's like if I'm on 3 days and I haven't practiced my craft, I haven't did any even if it's dry swings in the mirror, whatever. Looking online, doing baseball IQ, looking at job assignments. There's a million things you can do. You can't say, "Oh, my parents didn't they didn't get me a trainer." You can do other things. So I would just say keep that work ethic like that. And if you enjoy practicing as much as you love to play, you can go pretty far.
That's awesome, man. I love that. As the closing, just, hold yourself accountable and always go back to your why. If you have high aspirations, chase it. Go chase it and see your vision and write out goals, and that's fantastic. Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure. Everybody, this is Jason Ferber. Seriously, go check out his profile. Go give him a follow at Coach Ferber on Instagram. He does a lot of great stuff. He's electric, and he's just a great person as well. Coach, thanks for coming on today.
I appreciate you having me, Chase. Keep doing your thing. And as always, stay crispy out there.
Let's go. How was that? Pretty good?
Man, that was easy.